Hey guys, it's Miss Vinyan with Flip Video 6, the last one for World War II. We are going to be covering things that we hadn't talked about yet, the advancement of technology and use of resources in America during World War II. We're going to talk about Harry Truman and the use of the atomic bomb, and examine the American reaction response to the Holocaust. Alright, let's get started then. First we're going to look at the Holocaust, which you're going to have a project presented, so we'll just go over the highlights here. Holocaust, 1933 to 1945. So it's important to note that this was going on before the war even started. Jews were discriminated against, and this is called anti-Semitism. They were expelled from jobs and schools. They were required to wear the yellow Star of David, and they were imprisoned into ghettos. And remember, at this time, ghetto meaning an ethnic neighborhood. Okay, and so the Nazis came up with what they call the final solution. Nazis carried out genocide of Europe's Jews. They were murdered by death squads. They call that the Einsatzgruppen. And many of them were sent to concentration camps and death camps. A concentration camp is like a labor camp, and a death camp is basically you just go there for mass murder. A lot of times they would have them dig their own graves, line them up, and shoot them, and then burn what was in the graves. This is after the Einsatzgruppen had killed some men. This is what some of the barracks look like at one of the concentration camps. Okay, this is another giant mass grave. And this is at Buchenwald, which was one of the worst concentration camps. Okay, so death camps. Auschwitz in Poland was the largest. 12,000 victims were gassed and cremated in one day. They used a substance called Zyklon B in gas chambers. They were designed as showers, and before they would go in there, they would remove their teeth, their hair, and other items that they could sell. And these bodies were then burned in huge ovens. This is the entrance to Auschwitz. As you can see, it's kind of it looks sort of like a train station, as not to cause panic when people pull up to it. And this is where one of the head Nazis, the head of the SS that ran the camps, lived, right next to it. This is Zyklon B in its solid format. And these are gas chambers. That is the inside of a gas chamber at Auschwitz. And these are just pictures of the ovens that they would stick bodies in. You could see these big billowing puffs of smoke coming out where they burned the bodies. Alright, so Jewish losses in the Holocaust. As you can see, all of these countries, it tells you how much they lost. The extermination camps, though, were hidden here in Poland. Not a lot of people knew about them. You would think they would be in Germany, but they were sent to Poland, which is where most of them were sent. How does America respond to this? The American immigration policies were really strict at this time, and a lot of Jewish people tried to immigrate to not just America, but to Europe as well, and they could not get in. A lot of those people were shipped back to Europe, where Hitler took over, and they ended up dying due to the final solution. A lot of journalists didn't write about it because they didn't have solid sources, and they were afraid to write unconfirmed stories in the paper about it, especially after World War I and the use of yellow journalism. By 1944, Franklin D. Roosevelt established the War Refugee Board, and this was established to help rescue Jews. At least 200,000 were saved. But really, it's only at the end of the war that the Allied powers realized how extreme the situation was. Okay, so you're going to have a project on the Holocaust, so that's why we're only covering it briefly in notes. So we want to talk about, we already talked about Victory in Europe Day, where France was liberated, and now we're going to talk about VJ Day, Japanese, where we still have to fight the Japanese. After Pearl Harbor, the Japanese captured the Philippines, Wake Island, and Guam. If you can remember, these are, when we talked about imperialism, these were places, especially the Philippines, that America had taken over. They captured these places, and they made people, the island of Bataan, they made these people walk, I think it was like 75 miles, to their imprisonment, where they were imprisoned. And a lot of these people died on the way. They were all soldiers, the Allied power soldiers, and Japanese shot and killed them if they got out of line or if they fell. And so the first stop is the Battle of the Coral Sea. Okay, and so they're battling at sea to stop the threat to Japanese taking over Australia. So it's step one. The next thing they want to do is bomb Japan from 1944 to 1945. The B-29 bombers from Guam began bombing Japan, and they destroyed a lot of Japanese cities. 80,000 were killed during the first firebomb attack on Tokyo in March 1945. This is a picture from the battles in the Pacific, and you're going to have a group present on it. So, but this is one of the most famous pictures of the war. All right, this is how we, if you look, green is the Allied troop movements, so you can see them moving in, and this is where they're taking over. All of this has been taken over by the Japanese. So we start here with Hawaii, and here we are making our way back to Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and these are the places that we're trying to take back. And you can see where the atomic bomb is dropped, and Nagasaki and Hiroshima. All right, two of the worst battles. Now, they battle on a lot of islands, but the two worst were Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and they take place in a 4-month period, February to June, 5 months, sorry. The Marines suffer high casualties, 27 medals of honor awarded just at the Battle of Iwo Jima, and out of a force of 25,000 Japanese, only 216 surrendered. So that means some of the others may have got away, but most of them probably died. It's very honorable to be a Japanese soldier, and it's very dishonorable to surrender. So a lot of them didn't want to surrender. In the Battle of Okinawa, Japanese flew 2,000 kamikaze attacks. In kamikaze attacks, if you'll remember, are the suicide pilots who just fly into a target. 50,000 U.S. casualties, that means deaths, and 7,200 out of 100,000 Japanese surrender. This is the costliest battle of the Pacific War. That means that we lost the most amount of people out of any of the battles. All right, so they're trying to find a way to end the war, and so that's going to be what leads us to the atomic bomb. They call the top secret project for the atomic bomb the Manhattan Project. And basically, they come up with all these ways to create plants around the United States that are secretive. And so one of them is at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and they helped produce the plutonium and uranium in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And you're going to get a project on that one, so I'll let them go into that. But they started testing the bomb in New Mexico, July 16, 1945. Before this, Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away, and so President Truman takes over. He makes the final decision to use the atomic bomb and end the war. So here is, I think this one's at the Oak Ridge plant, and how big this is just one of the factories there, one of the plants. And they used a lot of women would come to these plants, and they could get jobs there by helping, just sitting at a computer and having a specific job. And these were very top secret, so the women could not report back home what was going on. These are some of the plants around the United States that helped, that were used in the Manhattan Project. All right, so people are thinking, why are we going to drop this massive bomb on them? It's either the bomb, or you can invade Japan, which would cost lots of years and millions of casualties, because we don't know the land there, so that's why they didn't want to invade. You could blockade Japan and starve them out, which would also take a long time. You can threaten them with an atomic bomb demonstration, or you can end the demand for unconditional surrender. America would not take surrender from the Japanese unless it was unconditional. That means that the Allied powers would have control over what they were surrendering, that the Japanese had to do whatever was said. They did not want to do that. So these were all the alternatives, and they thought about them and debated on them, but Harry Truman made the final call to drop the bomb. So like we said earlier, Roosevelt died on April 12, 1945, which leads Truman to come up with this decision. He didn't even know about it. It was so top secret that they had to fill him in on it as he was after he became president. So America decides to drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, August 6, 1945. 80,000 people died. 90% of the buildings were damaged or destroyed. If you didn't die in the firebomb, then you died from radiation later. They did not surrender after that, so the Allied powers dropped a second bomb on Nagasaki on August 9, 1945. Finally, after a threat of a third bomb, Japanese surrendered on August 14th, which is going to end World War II, and they call that VJ Day. Just like they called Europe when they took out Berlin, VE Day for Victory in Europe, this is Victory in Japan Day. This is Little Boy, the first atomic bomb, and you can see how much it weighs there, and it's very big. And then this was the mushroom cloud it produced. And then this is atomic bomb survivors waiting for first aid after. You can see the picture quality is probably because of the radiation. A shadow was all that was left by atomic bomb victim. Basically, if you were at the center of the fireball radius, then you were pretty much obliterated. This is Hiroshima, not just 1 month after it. It's just, there's nothing. It's flattened. More atomic bomb survivors. This is the mushroom cloud over Nagasaki. And this is Fat Man. This is the second bomb that was dropped, and it was bigger than the first bomb. Alright, so what's the aftermath of the war? 50 million people were killed during this war. The United States and the Soviet Union become world powers. They split up Germany into 4 zones, and these zones were split up between the USA, France, UK, and the USSR. They also divided the city of Berlin, which I'll show you a picture of in class. And then the Nuremberg trials occurred, and these were war criminals from Japanese and Germans that were executed for not following, or for war crimes. A lot of them said that their commanders made them do it, but they were held responsible for their own actions. And that is it. That is it for World War II. Hallelujah. See y'all in class.